Hello and welcome to Innovate 24. My name is Christopher Durham and I'm the president of the Velocity Institute. This is our second annual innovation event, this year hosted live on YouTube. So if you see the comments in the bottom, please make sure to comment, like, ask questions. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do. You'll get all the updates. Let me tell you a little bit about Velocity. Velocity is the global professional industry association focused on retailer-owned brands, private brands across all categories and all channels. All retailers, manufacturers, and solution partners who are dedicated to helping build private brands are invited to join. So we put retailers at the center because they're the folks who own the brands. And then whether you're a manufacturer, an agency, a broker, a research firm, whoever it is, if you want to help those retailers build those brands, then we want you to join. Please go to velocityinstitute.org and join. So first, let me thank the sponsors. As always, MBD, Marketing by Design, Maria Dubik and team are happy to sponsor. They actually sponsor everything we do during the year. Next up, you'll see Agra Italia. So if you need some great, authentic Italian products sourced from Italy, reach out to Agra Italia and they're happy to help you. Private Brand Icon, Damon, again, a great sponsor. They've been longtime partners of ours as well. And finally, Voci, our research partner. So you'll see some of the research we're doing in just a little while. This, of course, is YouTube that you're currently on. So as I said, make sure to like and subscribe. The first question we always get is, will I be able to watch these presentations again? Yes, all presentations will be available on YouTube. Probably tomorrow would be my guess. They may be this afternoon if we move quickly, but they'll be available for you to come back and watch. So please do. If you haven't been to our YouTube channel, well, you're there right now. So it is actually youtube.com/Velocity Institute Inc. Make sure to like and subscribe. As I said, we do weekly news. We do weekly interviews. You can see an interview there with the VP from Amazon, who will later be speaking at our conference in May. This is Innovate 24. Last year, we started our first annual research on innovation in private brand to just really give us a baseline. And this year, we have basically replicated that research with Voci to see if we've moved, if we've changed, how the industry's feeling about innovation. Obviously, we are in an industry that was not built on innovation. How we feel about it, how we're investing in it matters. Private brand, private label, generic back to the 70s wasn't built on innovation. It was built on national brand equivalencies, on quality at a great price. Copying somebody else isn't innovation, though. So as we have really gained the muscular strength to be really great at those things, we also need to add other things. So innovation being a key part of it. Who did we talk to? Well, we talked to, over the last 2 years, 23 and 24, we talked to 103 retailer-owned brand professionals. Of the respondents, a good cross-section all the way from CEOs to directors and managers. So you see CEOs was at about 8%, SVPs 21%, directors 21%, managers 29%, and the all magic other, which are just random titles nobody could really categorize. But you assume they probably fit in one of those other categories anyway. That's okay. We're talking to a lot of great people. What were the company types? So in doing this, we actually spoke to all companies who could help. So if you're a manufacturer, what does your innovation look like? If you're a retailer, what does your innovation look like? Agency, broker, ingredient, you name it. And got a great cross-section of really, really interesting respondents. So the retailers, as you see, were almost 40% of the respondents, manufacturers coming in just under it. Obviously, with the Vertex Awards, we do well with agencies. So we always get a lot of agency response, and they have great insight when we ask them both retailer questions and agencies about themselves and their own innovation. Ingredient manufacturers, digital solution providers, brokers, and so forth. When we asked what group is responsible for innovation in your private brand program or products, you begin to dive a little bit deeper into it. No surprise, 63% of the respondents said it's a combination of retailers and manufacturers. 22% said it's wholly a responsibility of the retailers. 10% said it's manufacturers, and the random 5% said brokers, consultants, or other folks. When we asked who is responsible internally for innovation, what team in your building, in your headquarters is actually doing it, you begin to get more nuance to the conversation. The blue bar being 23, the orange bar being 24. You can see dedicated teams within the organization have grown by a couple of percentage points. Looks like about 53, 54, just above 50. And The next step down being everyone, more disturbingly perhaps in the orange, which is this year, everyone grew significantly, just over almost 35%. So we're seeing a little bit of shift there. Now, what does that mean? Well, it might mean that the CEO and the executive team are messaging better and they're requiring that everyone be a part of innovation and there is a raised expectation. Might also be that there's a raised expectation, but there's no way to measure that. So everyone's doing it or no one's doing it. When we ask the question, how important is innovation in your retailer-owned brands, private brand strategy, 80.3% of the respondents said extremely important or very important. Love seeing that number, and that's up a couple of percentage points from the prior year. We then begin to dive a little bit deeper and said our retailer-owned brand innovation is one of these categories. From the far left, it's completely out of control and sort of just out there. Everyone is trying. We don't really know what's going on. We're launching new items. Who the heck knows what's going on? Over to non-existent at 2%, to accidental, which means we have some innovation, but we don't really do it on purpose. 20% of those people said it's random. We try, but we have we have very little focus. And then 70% said they were focused and effective. Now, it feels like a bit of an overstatement to me, but maybe that's true. Who knows? Let's hope that 70% of those folks in the industry are focused and effective with their innovation. We dove a little bit deeper in and said, okay, what does innovation actually mean? Because we know there's a lot of different types of innovation, all the way on the bottom from accidental to the top right to radical. Disruptive and radical being the two most absolutely difficult kinds of innovation there is, that honestly, even if you're P&G or 3M or General Electric, you're still only very rarely doing that. Most people are kind of living in that middle, discovered, incremental, and sustaining. Discovered meaning I've gone out and searched the world and maybe I found a new flavor or a new innovation in packaging or something. Incremental meaning we're taking little changes, right? We're increasing it, that cookie got a few more chocolate chips. It's just a little better. And sustaining means we're keeping it alive, but we're adding, it's a little bit additive, but it's not fully changing it. And then finally, disruptive and radical. Radical being completely changing the category. Think Swiffer to the mop and broom. So it's a very rare occasion for most retailers. When we asked respondents how exactly they fit in those buckets, the biggest shift you'll see was in radical. So last year, 38.5% of respondents said that they were doing radical innovation. This year, what feels like probably a more realistic number, 7.2% said they were doing radical innovation. The reality of truly radical innovation is it's few and far between. 16.7% down from 24.2%, also in disruptive. So they're level setting. They're saying, what exactly do these things mean to us? Are they truly disrupting categories? 22% said they were in the sustaining category. 29.9% said they were in the incremental category. 24.2% said they were discovering things, and 10.6% said they were absolutely accidental, which was down from 12.3%. Now, the reality of complex private brand portfolios is theoretically they'll have something in all of those categories. So if we really dove in deep, the numbers might shift, but it gives you a good directional idea of how they're approaching what they're doing. As I said, the change in the no innovation category is particularly exciting. 12.5% said we were doing no innovation to 5.3% said we're doing no innovation. So that number has dropped. A lot more people are trying to innovate. We then asked, how effective are your current retailer-owned brand innovation initiatives? 59.7% said moderately effective. That's pretty good, actually. The notion of innovation is that you're going to swing and miss a lot, and the trial and error and the learning part of it is what it's all about, right? I like to say, if you played baseball and you hit 30% of the time, you'd have a 300 batting average. So 7 times out of 10, you'd miss the ball, but you'd get in the Hall of Fame. Moderate's pretty good, so 59.7%. 11.3% said they were extremely effective, and then it goes down from there. We then asked them to compare the effectiveness of their innovation initiatives to the prior year. How are you doing in comparison to 2023? Slightly better than a year ago at 53.10%. It's a great number. Fortunately, if you look really at those first two numbers, the 18% and the 53%, so much better and slightly better. Looks like in general they're feeling pretty good about the direction they're going in, with only 28% saying they were about the same. The next question again dives into mindset and how exactly they're feeling and their strategic mindset is. So which of the ones best describes your innovation positioning? You see at the very, very top, it's the back of pack bringing up the rear. Next down, it's lagging, kind of a follower. Next down is middle of the pack, about on par with everybody else. The green bar is leader, but not bleeding edge. And finally, on the very, very bottom is bleeding edge at 1.6%. The reality of most retailers is they're not bleeding edge, so that's not a huge surprise. 38.7% at leader, and in the middle of the pack, 41.9%, given that many, many respondents were mainstream grocers, mainstream drugstores. It's not a surprise that that's how they responded. When we looked and compared those two numbers year over year, the numbers on the right, 46.9%, our position has improved, and 43.8%, it's about the same as last year, give you some idea of how they're viewing that strategic positioning. We then wanted to ask them about the economy, because obviously the last few years the economy has been a huge issue for both the retailers, the manufacturers, and the consumers. How has the current economic situation impacted the pace of your innovation initiatives? Have you dramatically accelerated? Have you stopped? Have you slowed? Are you maintaining at about the same pace, or have you minimally accelerated? Maintaining at about the same pace, you see it's right there, 34.4%. That's honestly about where they were last year, so nobody's panicking and shutting down. These numbers are pretty consistent with last year. When we asked what was their innovation goal across their portfolio of brands and products, it was 25%. That's a good, realistic goal, if a little bit of a stretch goal. Can 25% of all groceries be innovative? Maybe, maybe not. Can 25% of all grocery packaging be innovative? Can 25% of all marketing programs? There's a lot of different ways to approach it. I think 25 is a good stretch goal. It's nice to see them really be there. We then said, if you were to evaluate your organization in each of the following areas, what grades would you assign in each of the following? Basically giving themselves a report card. Consumer insights and trends, they gave themselves an 83.7%. It's about a B, right? Marketing innovation, an 80.1%, a B minus. That's pretty exciting to see, because as we look at product innovation without marketing to tell the story of innovative products, very often those products fail. Product innovation just under 79.7% at a C+. Innovation effectiveness. So what are the results, right? What's your batting average here? 78.6% said they were getting about a C. Honestly, that's about where they should be. Packaging innovation, 78.5% said about a C+. Organizational innovation, 76.9% said a C. I don't know how organizationally innovative any retailer or manufacturer is, but it's interesting to see how they view themselves. And then finally, sustainability innovation. It's certainly the buzzword these days, but it's harder to come by than actually do. So 76% said a C as well. Essentially, when you look at that, you're floating at around a C they're giving themselves. That's basically the same score they had last year. And kind of looking at the verbatims, so we begin to ask which steps or tactics are most important to pursue in advancing innovation. I don't know that they're a huge surprise, but they reaffirm what we already knew. Number one, build consumer relevant brands. Brands being the difference between old school labels that are just something slapped on a cheap product. Brands being a relationship with their consumers where they engage and love them. Whether it's Good and Gather at Target or Simple Truth at Kroger, they're attempting to build something that the customer walks in looking for, loves, and repeats the purchase of, and draws them back into the store. Number two, collaborating with manufacturers and suppliers. Retailers and manufacturers know they cannot do it by themselves. It's going to take everyone helping. Number 3, improving consumer insights and trends intelligence. So consumer insights are so often backward looking, and innovation needs more than that. But really understanding where their consumer is in their journey, what problems they have, what solutions they're looking for, and then going beyond that to say what trends exist in the market, whether it be in fine dining, on TikTok, or around the world that we can draw from. It's all exciting if they do it well. Number 4, a fearlessness in decision-making strategies. Number 5, adjusting strategies for changing consumer lifestyles. Number 6, encouraging fostering out-of-the-box thinking. And number 7, boosting marketing of innovation. So as I said, if we build something great and we don't tell people, how do they know it's there? And number 8, accepting a certain level of risk and failure. We'll talk about that a little more in just a little while. Next question, how would you describe your organization's attitude towards innovation? 56.9% said innovation is encouraged and supported. That describes us well, absolutely. It still leaves a big chunk that we're not quite there yet. It's probably why there was a C there. When asked, how would you describe your organization's attitude towards innovation? 53.4% said new ideas and concepts are rewarded regardless of their final use or success. Test and learn, test and learn, test and learn. Reward for challenge, reward for thinking outside of the box. But getting down to it, what's your attitude? So how would you describe your organization's attitude towards innovation? 66.6% said innovation tends to be stifled or delayed by bureaucracy or slow decision-making. Basically, somewhat or sometimes describes us well. So big organizations slow things down. It's not a huge surprise. Most exciting was the answer to this, though. When we asked, are you likely to lose your job if an innovation project does not meet goals or fails? 91.8% said that does not describe us at all. That's exciting to hear. Gradually, as we develop as an industry, our risk aversion is adjusting. It's evolving, and innovation is being rewarded. The story I like to tell is if you go back to Amazon and look at what was arguably their biggest failure of at least the last 10, 15 years, the Amazon Fire Phone, millions of dollars spent, millions of dollars in innovation and creation, and it was a huge flop. The folks running those teams all still have jobs, and they're all on the Alexa teams, they're all on the Kindle teams, they're all on the Fire teams, and they took the learnings from that phone and have transferred them to other things. When I look at all of this, my thoughts are generally, the numbers are a little bit optimistic, a little bit rose-colored glasses, but they're practical. It's not a bad place to be. I'd rather you be hopeful about your innovation than not. When I look at the research comments, so the sort of verbatims that were added in as well, collaboration, closer relationships, changing mindset and culture, better understanding our customer, more people and talent, and speed to market were all predominant throughout them. So we have to work together. We have to have the right mindset that's open to new things. We have to know our shoppers. We need the resources. But we also need to increase our risk tolerance. We've got to be brave. As I say, we've got to be bold. We've got to have a better defined strategy and more strategic focus. So innovation doesn't just randomly happen. Innovation delivers on a strategy, such that the CEO, the SVP, the VP, the director, the manager, all of their goals and their song and their language is speaking to a strategy that as an innovation team, you know what you're delivering against. You know what success looks like. And then it comes to a dedicated innovation team must be developed and more resources dedicated to it. So clearly, time and time again, they said this is what we need, a dedicated team. And beyond that, we need incentives and rewards. They say people do what they get paid for. Well, the reality is that's the way it works. So until the teams are incented for actually innovating and they're not penalized for innovating, it's going to be difficult to truly drive groundbreaking innovation. And it goes all the way from the CEO on down, and it goes to the merchants, and it goes to the buyers and the procurement offices and the global sourcing offices, the whole 9 yards. And then finally, less bureaucracy and legal entanglements. So Of course, this is our show, so we get to tell you a little bit about some of the cool and innovative things that we're doing for 2024. If you haven't already registered for our Velocity Conference and Expo, which is coming up here May 13th through the 15th in Charlotte, North Carolina, early bird registration is happening right now through the end of the month. So you got a few more days left. You can save $200. We have a lot of great things going on there. Tickets, booths, and sponsorships are still available. There's only 2 booths left, so if you want one of those, I'd move quickly. Please reach out and talk to me. It's a great time in Charlotte. We have a great slate of speakers already lined up, and we'll be adding a few more. The Fresh Market, Amazon, CVS Health, Albertsons, Lowe's Foods, IGA, Home Hardware from Canada, AWG, you name it. There's all kinds of great things going on, so you'll want to be here. If you think as a manufacturer these aren't relevant to you, imagine somebody at a retailer telling you what their strategies and goals are and giving you the key to success in a pitch, because this is what happens. During the Velocity Conference, we'll also be holding the 11th Annual Vertex Awards, which will be May 14th. Is that Tuesday night. If you buy a ticket to the Velocity Conference, you'll get to come see all the awards. We've got about 1,200 entries this year and 100 and some odd awards that will go out, and you will see the best private brands, retailer-owned brands from around the world. We'll then follow that up a couple of weeks later on May 27th in Amsterdam and do the awards for that side of the world. That's the Monday night of PLMA. And we'll be at the Hilton Doubletree Central Station in Amsterdam, so please join us for that. Following that, in June, we'll be doing another virtual summit on Europe, the future of retailer-owned brands, trying to get back to Europe. Hopefully the following year, we'll actually do a full in-person conference, but this one will be on London time, so if you're overseas, you won't have to be messing up your timing, but we'll have a lot of great retailers and speakers doing probably 3 or 4 hour virtual summit there. You won't want to miss it. Tickets for that are absolutely free. Then in October, we'll be in Phoenix, Arizona, doing our fourth annual Sustainability Summit. It's all about private brand and sustainability. It's one of those things we know it's not easy. We know there's a lot of opportunities, and this really brings the industry together to talk about how to make packaging, product, marketing more sustainable, more consumer-friendly, more efficient, and really have the hard conversations around how do we move forward with it. You can expect to see Sprouts keynoting on the first day. Then we'll be in Chicago again for Bold Bash, which will be November 11th. We will actually move across the street in the area to Joe's Live, which is a big kind of concert-y venue for a cocktail party and a band. We've got a lot of great sponsorship opportunities. If you'd really like to get your name and logo out there, we've got some cool ways to do it. We had about 350 people last year. I wouldn't be surprised if we can double it this year. It's a great time, absolutely free event. You can go ahead and register for right now. And then we close out the year with the State of Industry. This will be our 3rd annual State of the Industry event, December 19th. It's a virtual free event as well. You can go get tickets for everything right now. Please go register. We would love to have you join us. If you'd like to attend, speak, exhibit, or sponsor at any of these events, please reach out to me at cdurham@velocityinstitute.org. And as I said earlier, all the presentations for this will be available on our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Velocity Institute Inc., right here where you are right now. So if you hit subscribe, you'll have access to everything, as well as the last few years. There's about 100 and some odd videos right now you can go watch and learn more about private brand. So